dried out, and it dried out, and it's creating like a scab, and it's peeling off little by little. So with her, we're actually seeing something physical. With my aunt, she has arthritis, she has all sorts of things. I have seen her demeanor improve a little. Like sometimes I would go and she would just look tired and exhausted. I've seen somewhat of a difference in that area, but she says that she hasn't felt anything physically.
Right. Well, whatever anyone does, as I said to you in your first visit, from nothing to doing something is going to be the most significant increase in how somebody feels. And so if they were already using the earthing mat and had a significant increase, that was the first step, and everything else is working, but it's also piling some stuff in the detox organs. And so it's working. If you're noticing her demeanor, it's working. Real health stuff are subtle. There's none of this like coffee and oh my gosh, I have so much energy. That comes with a crash. Like it's like losing 2 pounds a week. It's not so noticeable at first, it's noticeable after the fact. So if you're noticing improvements in her demeanor, it's doing some benefits for her. There's probably a lot of little things she's not aware of. So just find a way to keep assuring her using it, unless she's deterred from using it. And if she is, then just have her focus on soaking and being on the earth and anything else she can.
Right.
She's using the earthing mat. Do you have any? I'm just going to turn because I'm too much in the sun, but I wanted to sit outside because even though it's crazy out here, it's actually quite nice out. But I'm going to turn out of the sun because as much as we want sun, we really don't want wrinkles. So it is important to not necessarily face the sun, but get sunlight. Okay, there we go. Do you have any other questions right now, Maria? Since you're unmuted, if you take another
Yes,
question.
I do, but they're not necessarily related to the laser. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course. And because I'm not sure which Dawn is with us, and I don't know if it's a Dawn that I don't know. So, oh, there's 2 people in the waiting room. Hold on. Let me let everybody in. Give me 1 second.
Awesome.
Okay. Hi, everyone that's just joining us. Oh, they're not in yet. Welcome to everyone that's just joining us for the Limitless Health Club. We were just talking a little bit about the quantum laser. Go ahead, Maria, ask your next question.
So my next question is, I remember when I had my appointments with you, you mentioned something about the emotional part and how the emotional part can affect our physical part. How do we reconcile that? How do we go from, okay, it's a physical thing, we help that physical thing, but we also get rid of the root?
Right.
Well, it's an emotional thing.
The body, there's a free download on the website, on my website, called Body Talk, and there are about 5 statements on there. The first one is the most important one. We can all do it together in a couple of minutes because it is the most important part of healing. And that's a great question to follow up your former question about your aunt, because she may not notice anything physical, but it may come out as emotional. So right now, everyone on the planet is emotional and crying and healing and going through major transformation. So you're either going to see it physically or emotionally in someone's body. And some of that emotional stuff will look like self-deprecation, and some of it will look like anger or anxiety or irritability, but it's going to be some form of discomfort. So there's one statement that I have that an associate of mine has tested it during a weight loss program. She had half of the people say this statement and half of them did not. And everything else they did was exactly the same, at least as far as we know. And the people that said the statement lost a significant amount more weight. So it could really just be that easy to lose weight sometimes. So everybody, whether you're muted or not, it doesn't really matter. Just put your feet on the ground and take a couple of deep breaths. And this is on the free download section of juliehealth.com. You can print this out with numerous other ones. We have little postcards that are like tiny inside the clinic that we give out sometimes, with this particular statement on it. And what I recommend you do is to plan to say this statement and have what I call a personal healing moment on your calendar every 2 days. Because if you do it, if you know, excuse my French, the shit hits the storm on like a Monday night and your body goes through this major detox, like the woman who was texting me today mudded 2 weeks ago, and she had an appointment earlier this week, and she was like, I don't really feel good. I'm so emotional. I'm this, I'm that. And so she already felt that. And then today she said she's having a major infection in her eye. And all of those are her body's way of either detoxing or integrating. We did a whole mud session. We got rid of so much stuff. So it's like we opened up, the body's like an onion. We opened up a layer, and then more physical things came to the surface. Some emotional stuff came first, and we toned that. We found 3 or 4 specific statements that tested weak for her. And I can go over those after we read our one statement. And then after we cleared the emotional, now she's having an eye infection that she said looks like almost pink eye. This is her body's way of detoxing, shifting, getting rid of what was on the surface so that what was underneath can come to the surface. And that's what it looks like. And so whatever infection she has right now, she may have had for 20 years, 30 years, that was like dormant in the body and covered up by all the stuff that was on the surface. And now that we're opening her up and she's releasing any negativity with the emotional stuff, getting rid of any fear or taming it, then a physical thing showed up. And it's just like what you hear of, like, or the way you think of emotional eating. It's like you're eating to cover stuff up and people pile on weight. I think we've all heard by now. If you haven't, then here's the information. People that have been sexually abused, women usually store more weight in their thighs because their body is like subconsciously trying to protect them. And also there's a way of where they're subconsciously trying to not look good. So they're like putting on weight and they're blocking their genitals basically. And so this stuff happens whether you realize it or not. It's subconscious. So let's say the same girl I'm talking about, the client, she did her mud therapy, and every 2 days she does this body talk statement. Then she's going to clear stuff out as it comes up. And she does. So that's why when I saw her, she showed up for her appointment. She was doing the work. She was just like, I'm cranky today and I'm emotional and I just wish I could heal already. And I don't love my body and feel like, all those negative things we all do from time to time. And now she's got physical stuff. But let's say that the same woman did the mud therapy, but does not take a personal healing moment. And she does not say that statement. That person may end up going all the way south and so negative about herself, and then start to have doom and gloom. Like, no matter, I just paid like all this money to do mud therapy. I take all these supplements, nothing's working. I'm miserable and I hate my body. And how do you tell someone like that in that state of mind, oh, just read these words, everything will be fine and you'll heal? Like, they're never going to believe you. It's really hard to pull them out. So if you program this into your calendar somewhat regularly, even if you are doom and gloom, you'll be like, oh yeah, at least I'll read my words and I'll say what I say, or I'll go to the beach, or like right now I'm in my garden. So, you go outside and you just do what you usually do, because when you're starting to dip low, what else do you have? You have your schedule that you tend to. Okay, so with that said, take a couple of deep breaths, feel your feet on the ground. You can close your eyes. And then you'll repeat after me. We did this a couple of sessions ago in this class. It never hurts to repeat it repeatedly. So I'll say the words slow enough where you can say them either out loud, as long as you're on mute, or in your mind. When you're in the room with someone else, it's way more powerful and empowering to say it in your mind. Okay, so you're feeling your feet on the ground, your eyes are closed, you're relaxed. Body. You are healthy, safe, loved, and healed. You easily dissolve any burden, toxin, stress, or excess weight in your path. For this, I am truly grateful. And just breathe out a few more times. Yeah, just keep breathing out a couple more times. So that's the statement on its own. Stay, while I talk for another minute, stay in that zone that you're in, because the energy feels really calm right now amongst us, the six of us. And then what you could also do as part of your quote unquote personal healing moment is you can tap and swipe. Tap the armpits and the groins and just really breathe out. And while you're doing that, or instead of, you can talk to your body in any other way you want. Anything that's in my field, please leave now. Or anything that's in my biofield or my body, my field, whatever words you know, that doesn't serve my highest good, please leave now. Anyone that's in my body, anyone else's energy that's in my body, please leave now. Anything that's in my body or my field that doesn't serve my highest good, please leave now. And you can shake it out. You can just breathe out, any of that stuff. You can also go from where we just are, where we just released a lot, to now I am. Now I am happy. Now I'm grounded. Now I love myself. Now I can do whatever it takes to be healthy. Now I am healthy. Now my body easily loses weight. Now I easily sleep through the night. Remember to breathe out with each one. I can feel like amongst us when it gets a little tense. So every time you say one of these statements, if you don't feel like soft and soothed and relaxed, just stay right where you are and breathe out a few more times, and maybe repeat the statement a couple more times. Now I am head over heels in love with myself. Now I can do whatever it takes to be healthy. Just a few more breaths. And that's it. I just wanted to see if anyone is trying to text me that they can't get on the call. All right. How do you feel after that? Anybody? Anybody? Well, you don't have to tell me. I already know. So just stay in that zone for another minute. Okay, someone feels lighter. That's good. Yeah, it's really that easy. So go to the website, juliehealth.com, in the free download section, download that. And for those of you that are newer or unfamiliar with my website, there's a do-it-yourself section. It says start here. So if you do it yourself, step 1, you're going to build the foundation for health. This is, I don't remember off the top of my head if I have this in step 1 or step 2. There's so many things that I want to be in step 1. Hopefully I put this in step 1 because it's so easy. But you can, for those of you that don't do one-on-one sessions with me, There's the Limitless Health Club that you're joining now. We offer the first month free, and then after that, it's $40 a month. So it's $20 for each class. And we're here just answering questions, and you can work your way through the do-it-yourself section easily. And there's a lot of tools on my website. I spent over 10 years collecting data and 20 hours putting together a blood profile sheet. It's, if you go on the, we're revamping a few things on the website. So if I say it wrong, just let us know if you can't find something that I say. But the under the shop drop down menu, there's a blood report profile. And I want to say it's like 80 pages long. So if you get lab work from a doctor or many doctors, and you're like, they hand it back to you and say, oh, you're fine. That's because they don't see, in order for them to think you have a quote unquote condition, there's like, this one has to be high and that one has to be high and that one has to be low. And that usually means a condition they've already diagnosed or, call. That's a big one. There's a condition for it that, the medical world says, but your body, there's always a condition. There's something going on. It could just be stress. It could be emotional. It could be lack of sleep. But in any event, they usually give people back their lab work and say, here, you're fine. So you can go and do the personal blood profile, use your code for either the Limitless Health Club, the Elite Health Club, whatever you're a member of, Holistic Health Club, use your code that you've been given and download that, and then track your own lab work, and it will tell you what's off. I don't have everything in there because there's so many different types of factors with lab work, but it's a great starting place for you to go, oh, 5 different things say my pH is acidic, or 3 things tell me I have a liver thing. Well, then you can work on your liver and your gallbladder, and you can talk about detox. You can focus on the detox if you want. But I feel that I really try to empower people, and I'm trying to make sure that everybody has what you need to be healthy. I don't want to see everybody every day in a one-on-one session. No one has that kind of time. For me to see everyone, it's just not enough time. So I want to see people one-on-one when they have something going on and help them on their way, like help them build a foundation and grow. And that's why we have these classes where I'll take questions, and I'm happy to teach a specific subject, and I have one in mind today, but I feel like the most powerful thing for people is knowledge and information. So that's why I switched it from teaching a topic each time to just taking questions and letting that guide where we go with this session. So I'm open to taking another question from anybody else. Otherwise, I'm gonna go into a topic that I have planned. It's just sending somebody the link because they wanted to get in. If nobody has a question, I will dive into talking about blood sugar. All right. And if you don't want to say it out loud, you can also type it. I have the chat open. But tell your friends, because when you have a partner, a friend that you could talk to about this weird stuff, which is actually real health, then it makes it a little easier too. And that's another reason why I have this class. And then, lastly, I could teach from anywhere. Last time I taught in my car in a different town. And this time I'm in my backyard, and sometimes I'll be at my desk, and sometimes I'll be in another country as the world turns. So you never know. All right, so I want to talk about blood sugar since there are no questions. I have been teaching about blood sugar for 25 years. It hasn't changed. The information is the same. All information about nutrition and health is the same. We were lied to our entire lives. It's not healthy for you. It was a business transaction. Salt is not bad for you. It was a business transaction, and the pharmaceutical industry told people information because they wanted to make you sick. When you cut salt out of your diet, you end up having digestive issues, and then they put you on a proton pump inhibitor or something like a Zantac, which further destroys your digestion. And then they have you for life, and then eventually that destroys your stomach lining, and then you have a hernia and other surgery. So when in doubt, you were lied to, and you have to undo the brainwashing and relearn the real information. And that's always what I've been about. And so blood sugar is really just the there's something called the glycemic index. It's how high and how fast a food makes your blood sugar rise. And that, your blood sugar affects your hormones, your energy, whether you're burning stored fat to make energy or you are storing new fat, which I know nobody wants. And all foods convert into sugar in your blood. So carbohydrates are not the enemy. Certain types are, but certain types of protein and fat are the enemy. And so is being sedentary, and so is being obese. So it really comes down to understanding blood sugar and your body. So I'm going to share my screen for a second. Hard to see. Oh, here we go. Here. Okay, that's not the one that I wanted. Blood sugar. Okay, this is not yet on the website because it's really complicated and I don't think anyone's gonna read it or use it on their own. But we're gonna go, let me find my pointer. This is always the harder part. Okay, I like using the heart annotation. So where are you? Stan. Okay. So this column on the left, straight down, is blood sugar. This column on the right is time. All food converts into sugar in your blood. It just does it to different heights and at different times. And I haven't mastered a pointer on here, but I know I used it last time. But let's see. Oh, I found a line. Okay, so if you start over here at 0 minutes, well, first of all, let's look at this dotted line right here. I'm not going to put spots on all of it, but this dotted line right here, that's where we want your blood sugar to be, little ups and little downs. Blood sugar dictates your energy, remember? When you are below the line, like this one, you are tired, starving, tired, not necessarily, let me scratch that. You are starving, so hungry I could eat a horse. Give me food now or I'm going to kill you. I am sure we've all been there before. So let me just erase some of these. We never want to be below this dotted line. So if we start over here at time 0 and you eat something really high in sugar and liquid or super processed that your body does not have to work hard to digest it, your blood sugar is going to rise through the roof, and then it goes to the top, and then it crashes in as little as 5 minutes. Nobody wants that. You're below this line. We don't want to go below that line. So that's simple sugars, simple carbs. We don't, and so that's what happens when you have, let's see if my sheet, I have, oops, it's not letting me scroll right now, but down here, there's very high. We have candy, tortilla chips, but the best example of what's in this very high is orange juice, and a lot of orange juice. A little shot, not a big deal, especially if you're already below the dotted line. A little bit of sugar like that will pick you back up to the line. It's like what diabetics do. They have like 5 raisins or a little glass of orange juice, or they have like sugar is what we've always been taught. Yeah, when you're below the dotted line and you're like literally irritable because your blood sugar is so low, you're craving sugar physiologically, and you need to get up to that line as fast as you possibly can. So you want something that does not need to get digested or processed. So that's when you have a little sugar. So if you're down here, you have a little sugar, you get back to the line. When you're at the line, suddenly you're like, oh my God, give me food now. Where's the waiter? Where's that bread? Where are those chips? You're like starving. And then suddenly you go, okay, I feel better. Now I can like eat calmly. So you're at a restaurant and you're starving, you get an orange juice and you have a little bit. Or, you know, the chips and the bread are deadly, really, because you're going to overdo them. It's hard to stop. But honestly, I'd say have a bite of dessert before you have your meal if you're that low. You know, if you had raisins or you had like 3 lifesavers, you know, just that little bit of sugar to get you right up to this line over here is what you're looking to do. So that's why you eat before you go out to eat. Because if your reservation is at 6 and you're starving at 5:30, you still don't have food till 7, right? Or by the time you get there and all that stuff. And then you just want to kill everybody in your sight, or you have anxiety or stress, or you're just mean to your kids and your family members. So don't do that. Eat something before you go out to eat, and eat something that is more stable, like this line right here, line D. When you eat it, your blood well, that's not true. If you're starving before you go out to eat, you need to eat something a little bit sweet. The line I was drawing on, like the orange juice, that little bit, or like a bite of something, or like 3 little crackers, something to tie you over for that little half hour to keep you going. When you eat on the line D, there's no rise. So you can only eat foods that create a glycemic index of a D if you're not starving. If you're below the line and you eat something that makes your blood sugar do nothing and go like this, you're going to still be below the line for like 2 more hours. So that's like when you're at the restaurant and you're starving and you're like, I'm on a diet or I'm eating healthy. So you eat salad and fish or salad and vegetables. Well, guess what? You still want dessert, or you want to overeat because you're still starving and you did not get up to that dotted line fast enough. So you're still craving even after you eat. That's when you're full, but you're not satisfied. So we did simple sugars up here. There's also straight carbohydrates, pretzels, pasta, rice, bagels, crackers. They have a lot of carbohydrates, not much nutritional value, not much protein, fiber, or fat. So you still get this peak and you still crash, but you can see it takes longer. As you're crashing and dropping down, if you plan to eat something with protein, fat, or fiber, you'll end up getting a little more stationary versus plummeting all the way down to the bottom. Hopefully that makes sense. And I'll go into that in a second, but you have to know, I'm eating this now. My blood sugar, like you're having ice cream in the summertime, you're having ice cream at 6 p.m. and you have to be thinking, wow, if I don't have protein, fat, or fiber with this right now, I need to eat that by like 6:45, or I'm going to have this crazy blood sugar thing, and then I'm going to have terrible sleep. So you want to really think about your blood sugar, really like at all times when you're eating. So this is high carbohydrates. It's carbohydrate foods. Beans don't count up here. Beans would probably be more in this neighborhood. Give this kind of like medium glycemic. I'm drawing what would be a line here that I don't have drawn out. So it's not quite high and it's not quite C or D, which is low. But the reason beans would be where this hearts are is because they have fiber and protein also. Protein, fat, and fiber lower the glycemic index. So that said, line C, so these are up here for B is considered high, A is considered very high, and there's, like I said, there's a list down here on the bottom. Medium is in the range where the hearts are, and low is between C and D. And I think you all know really basic math. If you eat something really high and you pair it with something really low, you're going to get a medium. So if you are like, I have to have pasta, I have to have these crackers, I must have a bagel, well then, first of all, don't have a giant bagel, have a normal size one, whatever that means, or peel a little bit of the inside out and eat it with protein, fat, or fiber, and then you'll have a more stationary response. Not stationary, like a moderate response. You'll be here where I'm drawing now. And so up here, soup is high. Up here, where I'm doing the hearts now, is also high. Sorry, the first one is very high. This one, plain carbohydrate, super processed and super high in sugar and liquid are very high. Straight up carbs are high, and foods that have some protein, fat, and fiber are medium. And then foods that are mostly protein foods like chicken, turkey, fish, I would even say cheese, although it's not something I usually recommend a lot of, those are in here in a low response between C and D. There's no peak, there's also no crash. And so it's kind of unsatisfying when you eat, like if you just eat a plain piece of chicken, like it's not that satisfying. You're not like, oh, that was amazing. I mean, if it tastes great and it seasons well, it does, but it doesn't do anything to your energy level. And so that's okay if you eat it when you're not starving. And that's why we eat 5 or 6 times a day, small portions. And, you know, if you eat right here, well, let me erase some of these. It's like 1,000 hearts, which is great. We're spreading love right now. I don't know how to erase it quicker. This looks like it erases it quicker, but I don't know if it, oh, look at that. I could erase it all. Okay. I learned something new every single time I use Zoom. I stopped being stressed out of not knowing, and I just decided you'll be okay with it. So if you say, I gotta get off the eraser now. Okay. So when you eat something moderate, like in the middle here, oops, let me get back to my heart. Stamp. I'll use heart again. When you eat something that makes your blood sugar rise slow and steady, your blood sugar also comes down slow and steady as you digest your food. And you see there's no peak, but it's also about 2 to 3 hours is the peak. And then as you digest your food, about 3 to 4 hours later, you're about to crash through the line. But what are you supposed to do every 3 to 4 hours? I think everybody here knows, eat, right? So if you eat something like a D, oops, I blocked it. If you eat something C or D right then, your blood sugar is going to be stable for another 2 to 3 hours. That's when you're in the middle of a project, you're at work, you're at your desk, and you're like, I'll just have a couple of almonds, or you might have chicken. You might have something like a piece of fish. It's not that exciting, but it keeps you going. You have more sustainable energy. You don't crash. So that's what we're looking at here. And then as long as you keep eating every couple of hours, your blood sugar is not going to crash. And that's what we're looking to do all day and into the night, right? Because if your blood sugar, no matter what, crashes at like 2 or 3 a.m. And so when that happens, then it affects your glycemic index. It affects how you feel the whole next day. So we don't want to do that. So this sheet explains a little bit about blood sugar. First, I'm going to see if anyone has any questions, and then I'm going to explain one more little piece that's up over here on the top right-hand corner. I taught this the other day to a lot of low educated people, and nobody had any questions. They all just said that was amazing. So I'm pretty sure you guys got the point. So I'm gonna, if you have a question, you can raise your hand or just take yourself off mute and ask the question. But I'm gonna go to this section for a minute on the upper right. So I think of it as a seesaw. I would put this on another sheet, but since there was one here, I just added it in here. Most of the time when you eat, you don't have a label. I mean, I don't know, unless you eat a lot of packaged foods. Most of the time when I eat, there's no label. When you eat real meals or at restaurants, there's no label. So viewing and portion sizes in your hands is going to give you some of the information we're about to go into. But I really recommend that every single person take the next lesson and the first one I just said to a label to some of your favorite products and use it over the next few days, because it's a game changer. So if you think of a seesaw or a triple beam scale, we mostly want it to be in balance. If you eat something, so on one side is carbohydrates. Well, this side, I'll try to do it the same as this one without getting blown over. If on one side is carbohydrates, the other side is protein plus fat plus fiber. We want it to be, for the most part, in balance, right? That's what line C or D below look like, mostly D, but you know, if you have it a little bit tipped, you're kind of like a C. And this is the carbohydrate side. So if you eat granola or a whole bunch of fruit or some crackers, you tip the scale like this. What should you do the next time you eat? And get back to balance. So you don't really need to use numbers, but I'm going to teach you numbers so you can do a food label. And I brought one so that we can look at it, something from Trader Joe's. So when you eat, you're going to almost always tip the scale to the direction of carbohydrates. And then the next time you eat or at the same meal, add protein, fat, or fiber. So you're balanced. So let's say you have a traditional cold cereal, because most of those are like 46 grams of carbohydrates per serving, and the serving is really 2.5 of what it says on the box. So you're at like 95, unless you're eating like this much cereal, then you're at like 46. So let's just say you have cereal, and then, as I already said, milk is a scam and it's not good for you. So maybe you put in coconut milk, like cow's milk, I should say. But maybe you put in coconut milk or almond milk or something else. Almond milk is actually more carbohydrates. Coconut milk is going to bring you from the cereal to a little closer to balance because there's more fat in there. But if you're tipped this way, what else can you add? You could add flaxseed meal. You could add some nuts or seeds, because those have mostly protein, fat, and fiber. You can bring it back into neutral. So that's pretty much how you can think of one meal. And then I want you to think of your whole day. And most people on this call, because I think you're over 20, know how to balance a checkbook. You balance it out. If you tip it way too far one way, something's off. So think of your day. You balance out one snack or one meal, but then balance out your whole day. And you'll stay fairly balanced. You'll have steady state energy. You'll be burning fat. I'm not going to go into the part 2, the part 3 of this lesson today, because I don't think we have time for it. And it's TMI for today. But after this, when your blood sugar goes up here, like line A, and then it crashes down here, in order to do this crash, what it's doing is storing fat. Every time your blood sugar plummets, you are storing fat. And the net result at the end of the day, the week, you might, balance it out throughout the day. But if you eat like that on a regular basis, at the end of the day, the week, the month, and the year, you've probably stored 5 to 10 pounds. If you live most of your day between C and D, you're going to easily lose weight without trying, just because you're eating foods that balance your blood sugar, because your body will take fat out of storage and turn it into energy if you're not storing. And the most important ingredient in the highest dose in order to make that happen is oxygen. And that's why you need to drink water and breathe. And that's why wearing a mask is the dumbest thing under the sun. So drink water, breathe air. Those are the 2 places you get oxygen from. We have oxygen in a can, just like the people in the hospital breathe oxygen. You can breathe it in a can. In the next few weeks, we'll have an ozone machine. Oxygen is O2, ozone is O3. So we'll be doing treatments, and I think we'll have some for sale, and they're actually quite inexpensive from what I hear. I don't have it in my possession yet, but oxygen and ozone are so close. When you put in more ozone, you're going to end up getting more oxygen, and we can flood the body with that. And oxygen, by the way, also kills infection. So does ozone, and it makes your pH alkaline. And when you have an alkaline pH, it's impossible to get cancer. So there you go. More oxygen, everything is better. So coming back to our seesaw up here, carbohydrates on one side, protein, fat, and fiber on the other. Try to make it in balance. Never, ever, ever, there's always an exception to the rule, but never, ever, ever eat something that has more than a 2-to-1 ratio. So if you go back to your cold cereal, is a terrible example, because milk sucks, and cereal, most cold cereals are horrible for you and so high in carbohydrates. But let's say you take Paleonola, which is the healthy granola that doesn't have grains in it that I like. It's actually probably on its own fairly balanced, because it's got a lot of protein, fat, and fiber. So one snack food or cereal type of thing on its own can be balanced like this. And then if you put some yogurt in, yogurt has a little protein, but it also has carbs. So you might actually still stay stable. But let's say that you have a bagel with almond butter. Definitely, no matter what, you're tipping the scale here, no matter what. So let's say the bagel has 30 grams of carbohydrates. That's 30. And let's say the almonds have 10 grams of carbohydrates. That's 40. And it has 5 grams of protein over here, 2 grams of fiber. That's 7. So we're at 40 to 7. And it probably has about 7 grams of fat. So 14 to 40. That is more than a 2-to-1 ratio. That would not be that would not be a balanced snack. And I said never, ever, ever eat it, but let's be real. But then that's another piece of the puzzle also. When are you eating that? If you ate that right after you exercise, best time to eat more carbohydrates. So that's a great time to do it. If you eat it when you go to study, maybe a good time because you're going to need that extra brain fuel. If you eat it right before bed, there are some times where eating a little bit of carbs before bed is helpful, but generally that's going to make your blood sugar erratic in the night and you're going to wake up. You will have burned muscle in the night and you might wake up with an erratic blood sugar like line A. So, and if it was a dessert food or a carbohydrate food, it's going to have carbohydrates. So you just say, okay, I'll deal with it. But if you think it's healthy, like some of the power bars out on the market, if you think it's healthy and it's like this, guess what? It's actually not. Paleo and keto things are going to be closer to this, but the traditional ones that you're going to find at that like long aisle at the store or at GNC are going to have all kinds of chemicals and fake things in them. So they're going to have their own disadvantage. They may look like on the label like it matches, but it's actually toxic. So we're talking real food in general is what I'm saying. Just because it says keto or paleo doesn't mean it's good for you. Just like it says gluten-free doesn't mean it's good for you. Most gluten-free bread and crackery things have soy and corn in it, which is like a double dose of Roundup and GMOs and you're going to destroy your gut that way. So we don't necessarily want to do it. So read the label. So I'm going to get the one that I brought. And so you're going to read the labels. You're going to make an intelligent decision. You set your blood sugar up first thing in the morning. So if you eat more balanced in the morning, you're going to be balanced throughout the day. Anyone ever have like a Dunkin' donut or a pastry for breakfast? Like your whole day is a mess. You might as well just like call it quits. However, there are remedies. Taking a fish oil, eating a teaspoon of oil, taking vitamin E around that time will actually help your body manage all of that chaotic sugar a little bit better. But you may have some ups and downs of fatigue. So it also depends on how much you eat and when you eat it. As I said, right after exercise is the best time to eat something with more carbohydrates. Okay, so this is a banana and almond butter smoothie from Trader Joe's. And I almost never buy anything that says protein on it because in this kind of form, because it's going to test toxic if I do the O-ring. But this one tests pretty good. But as you might be able to see, I don't know if it was me or my son, someone had a sip the other day. I wouldn't drink this in one sitting unless I am starving, ravenous, below that dotted line, just worked out. And one of the places I exercise happens to be next door to Trader Joe's. So it is possible I might go in there and pound one because I'm starving. And after you exercise, your blood sugar will plummet just like where these hearts are on line A. So you will drop as soon as you're done with your cool down. If you don't eat within the next 15 to 30 minutes, your blood sugar is going to drop. And then you're going to have this whole erratic thing where you're going to be like starving and cranky and irritable and I need sugar. And that's when you eat junk food. So you got to be prepared when you exercise. But so this is actually a pretty decent label. First ingredient's water. Second is coconut water. Although it has ascorbic acid, which is not actually vitamin C, even though you've been told it was. It's like a fake form of vitamin C. Bananas, more ascorbic acid, and then almond butter, which was roasted, and roasting causes oxidation, which causes stress. So far, why am I showing this to you? Because it's been sitting in my fridge for like a week and a half. No, I took a sip. I think I was tempted because you know what happens when you go food shopping when you're a little hungry. So anyway, then it has pea protein powder. This pea protein, I feel like doesn't test as horrible as most, which is what led me to buy it. It's not something I would buy all the time. And then there's vanilla extracts, water, vanilla bean, sea salt, sunflower lecithin, and gellan gum, which to be honest, I guess I didn't read the label as clearly at Trader Joe's as I could see it in this beautiful sun. I don't even know what gel and gum is, but it's a stabilizer to bind it. And then carob bean gum, which I'm really okay with. So there's no other ingredients. There's nothing else in it. It tells you everything. I mean, they don't have to tell you everything. There can still be, I think, 15% of stuff they don't tell you. That's the fake law, that they don't have to tell you everything that's actually in there. But anyway, so that's the ingredients. So it already doesn't really totally pass the test with the ingredients, but it's better than a lot of things you can eat when you're out and about. So I'm going to read the label. I don't know if you can look it up online if you wanted to while we're talking. This is what it looks like. And then it's 320 calories is all that I saw so far. And just as a gauge, most snacks are about 2 calories. So this is a little more than a snack. That's, we probably sipped like 30 calories. So you're going to get out your pens or use your brain. There's 21 grams of fat. That's on this side. There are 19 grams of carbohydrates, of which 5 are fiber. So really you do 19 minus 5 to do the total, to do the carbohydrates. So over here, it's got 14 on the carbohydrate side. And on the protein, fat, and fiber side, I already told you it's got 21. So it's not a carbohydrate food in and of itself. And we would add the 21 to the 5 grams of fiber, so it's 26. And you add that to 14 grams of protein. It's got 40 on this side and 14 on this side. It's the exact opposite of the other one that we did. So it's like this. And to have a liquid snack that is not this way with carbohydrates, but is actually this way, is fantastic and not entirely common, although it's more and more common these days. And when it's here, it's generally not the healthiest thing, but there are some amazing products out there that are, and I usually find them. You should also go to the couple of snack lists in the free download section, and there's another snack list that costs, I think, $2 or $3 that you'll find in the regular shopping cart. Anyway, so in terms of blood sugar, this is this way, which this and this are kind of equal. You just don't want to do this, the carbohydrate side. So that's why I bought it. I was hungry. I got to Trader Joe's. I had bought it once to taste test it. It tested pretty good. Their smoothie that comes in a container that has avocado in it is better, but I just wasn't in the mood for it. So I probably had like these few sips while I shopped, and it's been in my fridge ever since. And I might take a sip right now just to see, but I will probably throw it out because that's what happens in my house. So anyway, does that make sense? I'm gonna stop sharing the screen and take any questions that anyone has about that now. That is the most important thing you will use every day, or better use every day for the rest of your life. Now that I taught you that, I usually teach that in an entire one-on-one session for someone. It takes like 45 minutes of that session. You guys just got it here in the Limitless Health Club because I want you to have limitless health. This is everything. Food labels and balancing your blood sugar, game changer. An average apple or piece of bread is 15 grams of carbohydrate, and there's a little bit of fiber. But if you have an apple with like 3 almonds or a teaspoon of almond butter or a teaspoon of coconut oil, there's actually a cacao / ghee product, which I don't even like the flavor of ghee, although I use it in some of my cooking, but I have put the chocolate ghee as a spread. Once in a while, I can handle the flavor. So there you go. You can have cacao ghee on top of your almond butter and completely change the glycemic index of it. And it tastes pretty good. So everyone is so quiet today. I'm waiting for one more question. We just have enough time for like one more comment or one question before we end for today. And remember, the next class is in 2 weeks. And as part of the Limitless Health Club, you, after you do your free piece, when you pay, you actually have a whole section on the website separate from the regular website. You have a private login section where you can watch some videos. You can make a playlist like Netflix and organize the videos you want to watch and save some notes. Yeah. So not even one question or comment. So I'm going to call on somebody. Linda, tell me something. Unless you're driving and you can't unmute.
I'll ask a question that has absolutely nothing to do with what you're talking about.
Okay.
I had some laser treatment on my face and chest today. I
Okay.
mean, big time. I told you about all that and get
Yep.
rid of the but I am on fire. What do you got in your bag of tricks? I have lotion and she has something called Egyptian magic. I don't know if you ever heard of that stuff. That's it's kind of a claim, but what can I put on to help the inflammation?
Your Ultra Inflamex powder. You could double or triple down on it today and tomorrow. That would be one of the fastest, most potent things, the gold powder that you would take.
Yeah, so put what, 3 scoops into a thing?
Yeah, I mean, I would drink it a little slow just to make sure your intestines don't go whoa. But it's got like 20 anti-inflammatories in it and it's protein. So that could be your dinner tonight, or you can put it into a shake. And then it's not a burn. So you could use aloe or
I don't want to put anything on it. I just from the inside out.
the inside. Yeah. So I would do that if you have inflammacidin, which used to be called, it had started with phytozyme. So phytozyme or inflammacidin, turmeric, anything with boswellia, those are all your anti-inflammatories. You could castor oil your other organs, your detox organs, because anything that happens to your body, if it's going through something, is going to go through your detox system, your assembly line. So the healthier you have the assembly line, then the easier it is going to be for your body to heal. So I would do that. I might Medi-Soak because the salt will pull any like toxicity out of your body also. You know, so you always your regular bag of tricks, your tool chest with all your main things: castor oil, tapping, swiping, soaking, and in this case, any anti-inflammatories. Thinking what else we have. You probably have all those. You might take a little. If it's probably stressful to your body. So a couple of extra antioxidants. And now I would imagine based on what you described, your body is going to be rebuilding skin. So you also do extra vitamin C, zinc, or nucleo to speed up that process. You know, you should be able to heal from something pretty quickly. So
how much C?
Maybe like
how much C?
Probably 3. Vitamin C in high doses will cause diarrhea if you've taken too much for your body. And when we do a tolerance test, most people can go up to like 30 or 50,000 of real vitamin C. So of the ones you might have from Premier, from us, I think they're stronger. So maybe 3.
Well, I take 2,000 of the liposomal, not your brand, but I have the your brand, the pills, and then you gave me some of that stuff in the with the eyedropper, that other brand. Let's see.
Oh, the liquid vitamin C. Yeah, that's great. The liposomal doesn't, the way that it works is it cuts off something and it doesn't actually, it doesn't get absorbed as well as the Premier. And that other liquid C that we have is also fantastic. They play music to that as they make it. So it's as natural as you can get. And then they liquefy it.
3,000?
Easily, yes.
Easily. Okay, because I'll take more because I don't have a problem. I took a lot of that all through COVID, never got sick.
Yeah, great.
That one thing.
So you have all of that. So there's like 3 or 4 more questions in the chat.
Thank you.
Only. My pleasure. Heal well, heal fast. What's best to take for anxiety is a question somebody has, and anxiety, that emotional stuff we did at the beginning of class, that will calm anxiety down, but also anything for your liver and gallbladder. B vitamins, turmeric, CBD, soaking in the ocean salts or in the real ocean, breathing techniques. But anxiety, if you're getting anxiety, it's because your liver is overloaded. It's trying to detox, and it's like driving a car without any oil in the engine, and it's like always running hot. That's your body. That's your liver and the beginning of your detox system. I really appreciate the information. Very informative. Thank you. I learned a lot this evening. Okay, so I think I answered everything in the chat, and it is 6:01, and I'm gonna go to the sauna and work out and sweat and do some yoga in the sauna. Um, as we move through this shift into the Aquarian age, consider that what you used to do for exercise, you don't need to do anymore. We don't need to pound the pavement. We don't need to work out cardio 20 to 60 minutes every single day and weights. That was a lie also. That led to chiropractic and physical therapy exploding and massage. What we do need to do is sweat, and that's where the sauna comes in. And we also need to stretch and breathe and move. And before someone invented the elliptical machine in the 70s, and they used to do yoga and breath work to do your cardiovascular. So I like to go, there's a place where you can go to a sauna and they have classes running through them, like a virtual, and I just listen to my own music and go inside because the only way out is in. So heal from the inside out. After I sauna, I take extra salt always because it definitely dehydrates you. Somebody thinks we're starting now. They're just about to join. They have gonna have 1 minute of class. And then I also do soak in the ocean salts because going in the sauna will dehydrate you and you don't want to start your body off each day dehydrated and depleted. And when you're low in salt, as we said earlier, your stomach's not going to work correctly and you're not going to have great digestion. I don't remember if I said that on this class or an earlier with the client. So with that, please tell your friends about the Limitless Health Club, the people that either don't want to do one-on-ones or can't afford it. This is here for them, and the do-it-yourself section on my website for the people that want complete life transformation. I have one of those packages. It's not on the website. It's upwards of $30,000. If you have some of those friends, definitely send them along. I would love to help them get a laser and get their home fostude and reverse all their health problems if they are ready to. Otherwise, I will see you guys in 2 weeks. Today is the second Wednesday. We'll be back on the fourth Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. So somebody that just joined us, you've joined at the last possible minute. I hope next time you set your timer to come join us. The fourth Thursday. Next month has 5 Thursdays. Make sure it's the fourth. We'll be here. So check out anything else on my website. We talked about free downloads, and have a great and healthy night. And thank you for joining the Limitless Health Club. Bye, guys.